Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. You're listening to Actors with Issues, a self-help podcast for actors by actors. Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends. Welcome back to another episode of Actors with Issues, the self-help podcast for actors by actors. Featuring special guests from TV, film, and Broadway, we take a deep dive into the world of entertainment and discuss what it means to be an actor today. I'm your host, Juan Ayala, and today I am joined by an actress you've seen in many, many comedies like Modern Family, Orange is the New Black, The Mindy Project, and Ghosts, and returning for the fourth and final season of Upload, premiering August 25th on Prime Video. Allegra Edwards, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
So before we dive into Upload, which was one of sort of my early COVID comfort shows, it was one of the few new shows to come out in 2020.
Yes,
Which was such a strange time to think about of
I know.
content and or the lack thereof for such a long time. But
Totally.
how did Allegra get to where she is today? What's the journey been like from the early years to now?
Oh my goodness. I just sit back and light up a cigarette. I think I started like you, I started in theater and did a lot of plays when I was little. Then I did some commercial auditions and some modeling when I was little too. Always wanted to be on television. I felt like that was the dream, but also had quite a deep love for theater as well. And went to school at Pepperdine, did my undergrad in theater and television, and then got my MFA in acting from ACT in San Francisco, which no longer exists, as many MFA programs have gone the way of the dinosaurs. RIP. And then, just basically came out to LA first and then went with an off-Broadway show to New York. And then once I was in New York, something sort of clicked more. I had a switch up in representation, but I also had there's something about New York. I don't know if you've ever lived there or spent time
I live in
there.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
You live in Brooklyn. Okay, so then you know
Yeah.
for real, that
Yeah.
you can kind of get this hustle osmosis. And I think part of it has to do with the subway, where no matter the industry, you notice people's energy and their drive and their ambition. And as long as you don't let it make you feel inferior, you can kind of ride that wave, you know? There's a rising tide that floats all the artists' boats if you let it in New York. And something switched over, and I started genuinely auditioning more for film and television. And then I got my first TV role was on a show called John Glazer Loves Gear on True TV with John Glazer, who is hysterical. It's a teeny tiny little part. And then I got Modern Family, and then it just sort of grew from there. And then Upload was such an extraordinary dream come true and really felt bizarre in how it came to be because I only had two little 4-minute self tapes, one tiny tape, and then from New York getting sent to LA, one little tape, and then an adjustment for the second tape. Like, we've seen your comedy. Could you do a grounded take? Sent that in. And then the next thing I knew, I was on a flight to the table read. No chemistry test, no callback, no producer session, none of that. And then we shot the pilot in 2018 and prayed that it would get picked up, and it did. And who could have known in COVID that everybody had run out of Tiger King and it was time for Upload to shine. And because it was on Amazon, people saw it all over the world. Amazon has this amazing thing where it's released in every language. And that created quite a fan base for us as well. I don't think we saw that coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with the sort of traditional broadcast network structure and whatnot, the syndication doesn't happen until 100 episodes, which shows
Uh-huh.
don't really get to that. And sort of the foreign markets, it's a bit harder. But yeah, like you said, with platforms like Amazon and Netflix and whatnot, it is seen
Yeah.
everywhere. It's crazy, the billions of people who watch the same
Yes.
thing. I feel like films used to be touchstone, and now it's TV because of global
Yes.
streaming like that. It's such an interesting time.
Exactly. And to that end, seeing myself dubbed in other languages is a trip. That's also part of what takes the season so long to turn around again. Like, there's a lot of time that goes by between our seasons, and part of it's because everything needs to be dubbed into every language.
Wow.
That's the downside. But It's really fun to see myself speak fluent Portuguese. I really like that.
And growing up, was there a particular moment where you knew you wanted to pursue an acting career, or did you feel it was always just like innately in you and this career path was inevitable? Like, did you ever see yourself doing something else?
Mm. There are a few little moments. It is a little bit innately in me, I would say, because my dad was an actor in the Bay Area, and I grew up watching his performances on old VHS tapes from like 1987 productions at, for example, Theater Works Palo Alto, now Theater Works Silicon Valley, Little Shop of Horrors,
Mm.
Peter Pan. I would watch my dad transform into somebody else, and that was kind of the entry point to see this is something that people can do. Like my dad is a he's a fundraiser by day, but he's a Captain Hook at night. What's happening here? Like that actually made it feel possible.
Yeah.
And then I did see a touring production of Les Miserables in the front row, and there was some Gavroche and Cosette and some of the kids on
Yeah.
stage, and then some of just like the background kids, like urchins reaching towards the front row. I was like, amazed and a little jealous. I think I was like, okay, okay, I can feel your spit, and also I can do this. I want to reach at the audience. I don't want to be the audience. And then in terms of film, the thing that made me want to do it was watching Pirates of the Caribbean. Do you remember your first time seeing Pirates of the Caribbean? Please tell me you've seen it.
The like the Johnny Depp movies and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I remember watching that and feeling like, gosh, they must be having so much fun.
yeah.
And I think that was the first time I thought of it as a big fun group project
Mm.
and not just an escapism piece of storytelling. I was thinking about how did they get Keira Knightley to go up in the air for that shot where she's
Yeah.
like reaching for the sky and there's a trampoline of a sail underneath her? Or how did they get the pirates crawling out of the ocean? How did they film that? How
Mm.
did they make that thing explode? I was thinking about it that way, and that made me want to try it.
Yeah. For me, it was in sixth grade seeing Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. That I it was already like my favorite Disney movie, and then seeing it on stage and seeing the people in these giant plate costumes and during Be Our
Yeah,
Guest and all of that and the transformation, I was like, this is magic. I want to do this.
the transformation, I don't want to understand. It's like I don't
Yeah, I
want
don't
to
need to
know how
know. Yeah.
magic works. I don't need to know, but I remember watching that show as well on Broadway and going, "Oh, th you can do magic in real life if you're in the theater."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And we love to talk about sort of like mentorship and whatnot on the show because lots of
Mm,
young actors listen to the show, and um, I think that one of the most important things is to find a mentor, especially if you're an actor from a state that is sort of like far away from the major markets and you move and you don't know anyone. It's like, okay, go make some
mm,
actor friends and find a mentor. To me, that's like you have to build
yeah.
your little community. So who has played that role in your career for you? Whether it's been a coach, a director, or a fellow actor who's sort of like been there to be your rock and keep you grounded. Has anyone sort of served that for you?
Yes, that is so true and such a great question. When I was at Pepperdine, I was on the Pepperdine Improv Troupe, and she wasn't even on faculty because it was considered an extracurricular. If I could go back and change things, I would fight harder for every university to have improv as an essential course, not just for theater people, but for everybody. I think everybody in every business and every field needs improv classes. That's just a side note. But anyway, my coach, Tracy Burns, she was she still is an incredible mentor to me. I think she understood my capabilities as a performer better than I did. And she also saw my habits and she would try to steer me away from what I would fall back on. And she'd go, "You're really good at the high status stuff. You've done that. Explore something else." Um, and and then when I had difficult scenes that I needed coaching on, she would coach me and kind of prep me on what to expect. And then more recently, this is going to sound so corny, but I'm a Robbie Amell fan. I I don't know if I would think of him as a mentor in the classic sense of like, let's get coffee and talk all the time. But not that he wouldn't, I'm sure he would if I asked him. But on set, if I had a question that I was nervous about, or something that I felt insecure asking about, or if I needed somebody to advocate for me because I was afraid to, Robbie, first of all, is a perfect gentleman, but would also give me business advice. And the business advice bit is so crucial, and it's not something that you necessarily learn in school. You really kind of have to learn by doing. And Robbie's been doing this for so long. He has a great approach, and he gets it. And he's just very generous with his knowledge. And so I've been very appreciative of him and grateful for him.
Robbie's one of those actors who, like, I've basically grown up seeing in, like, Freeform and Disney Channel movies and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that for such a
Cheaper
long
by the
time.
dozen.
Yes, exactly. And the second one, right? Or was he in the main?
Yeah, two. You're right. You're
Okay,
right. You're
yeah.
right. Cheaper by the dozen too. Don't Google it.
Um,
Yeah.
and but yeah, it's just it's so cool to see actors like that just continue to work and continue to thrive, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, and seeing longevity, I feel like is can be rare, especially for actors who were like teen actors or child
Yes.
actors. Lots of folks sort of their lives go in directions that they didn't anticipate, and
Right.
a lot can happen. But yeah, what a talented family those Amels.
I know.
Uh,
I know. Isn't that ridiculous? It's amazing. It's pretty cool.
as what you said, sort of like him being like a co-star and whatnot. Has there been anyone else who has left a pretty profound impact on you? Whether it's, I mean, you kind of mentioned this, sort of like how they lead on set, leading by
Yeah.
example. Lots of sets can sort of actors can feel a bit private.
Hmm.
They don't want to maybe be sort of front and center when the cameras aren't
Yeah.
rolling. But I've always admired actors who sort of do lead that way. They set the tone
Hmm.
from day one. Has anyone sort of left that impact on you like that?
Yes. And the other one that comes immediately to mind is Rosario Dawson. I got to work with her on the show Briar Patch, where she played a character named Allegra. That was cool. And confusing sometimes, but mostly cool. And there was a day where we were had a big funeral scene. And I remember she got out of her transpo vehicle and looked at all the background actors and said, she made eye contact with everybody and said, "Thank you all so much for being here. Here's what's here's what we kind of need, and here's what's going to happen. And I'm so glad that you're here." There wasn't this line separating background from Rosario and the rest of us that were going to be doing more dialogue in the scene. She invited them into the process, and I think as a result, probably cranked up the focus from everybody. Um, that was just a really cool, I had never seen that before, which feels sad to say, but there is sort of a like they do have their own director, background actors do, and they have their paths, and they are probably given very strict instructions not to do certain things. And so for Rosario to just start by saying, "I'm glad you're here. Thank you. This is what's going to happen. This is what to expect. If I look at you, it's okay. If I touch you, it's okay. Don't be afraid to jostle me for this particular scene." She just allowed for so much permission. And that was really inspiring and very gracious.
Yeah, I when I first moved to New York, I worked as an extra quite a bit. Just I wanted to like learn
Yeah,
how sets work and whatnot because I knew, with a theater degree, I had no idea how a film or TV set worked. They don't
right.
really teach that. I'm like, what's a turnaround? What does that mean? What's a,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
What's
know
a
what that is.
turnaround?
Um, a 10-1, I don't know
Yeah.
what that's code. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
learn all of that eventually. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, there is sort of that separation between the principal cast and background, and they do often say like, don't ask for pictures, don't bother anyone, all of that. But there have been sort of those experiences, especially seeing actors direct. There was an
Hmm.
episode of the Netflix show Luke Cage that I worked as an extra for a day, and Lucy Liu directed that episode, and she
Oh,
was
cool.
so gracious, and that whole crew. But there have been some really cool experiences um, where folks lead that way, and that's kind of how you know, oh, you're one of the good ones. you know?
Yeah, yeah. So looking at people like they're humans, which we all
Hmm.
are, and that if we can talk to each other like we all have the same goal, which is to make a great product and to tell a solid story, then being, sort of compartmentalized or even just not conscious of it at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just aren't even thinking. They're just in their lane trying to do their job. Um, it's just better if everybody's on the same page,
Yeah.
and feels like themselves.
And going back to Upload, with the show having been on the air for going into its fourth season, um, shows don't last that long anymore. So
Mhm.
it's been so cool to see that it's getting to wrap up and tell the story it wants to tell and have its own ending and not end on a cliffhanger that never gets resolved, which is the
Yeah,
case with far too many shows.
I
Um,
know.
uh, Looking back from day one on the pilot to, you know, the series wrap for season four, how
Yeah.
have you changed in between that time as an artist? How have you grown? What's been your biggest takeaway from the experience?
Oh my goodness. The morning of the table read, I had a panic attack and I called my dad at 5 in the morning in LA saying, "What if they fire me? What if they fire me?" It was because I didn't have a chemistry test that I thought they surely didn't know how tall I was and that they had made a mistake and they were going to meet me and go, "Oh, no, no, never mind. What were we thinking?" And he talked me down and reminded me that professionals made this decision and you have to believe them when they make choices. And now um, I feel so much more confident. That's the biggest thing that's changed in me, I think. I've been able to watch myself get a little bit better on camera. Because again, like you said, they can't necessarily teach you in theater school camera technique in the way that you can when you're on set. You can try, but until you have this light and that spike and a microphone and somebody going and you have to do continuity, there's too many things that's hard to put into a classroom environment, I think. Um, the reps, the clocking the 10,000 hours gave me so much more confidence. And then courage. I think I also have had some experiences where I left and went, and I really wanted to try that. Why did I back off? Why did I why didn't I leave it all out there? I started to give myself a goal for every scene. I'll feel good about today if I try this ad lib or if I make this choice or um if I'm more emotionally connected at this part, a little miniature goal every time. And having the courage to try it is something that 2017 Allegra, oof, she was just happy to get through the day. She was just happy not to get fired. She was happy to be called. And now I feel like I can trust myself more. And I'm beginning to learn what my Swiss Army knife of tools are. And I'm also learning what I need to work on and what I need to sharpen and what I don't have and what I would like to add to my tool belt. You know, I didn't have that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we go, we are coming close to our time. We'd like to
Okay.
wrap up with a game.
Okay. I
So
love games.
pick a number, one, two, or three, and that determines the game we play.
Three.
Three is a game of this or that.
Okay.
So this would be an easy one. There's another one called
Okay.
It's Time for Life's Big Questions. That one's a little harder. Uh,
Okay. Well, I like
uh,
that though. That
but
sounds fun.
starting with an easy one, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
When it comes to acting, film or TV?
TV.
Drama or comedy?
Comedy.
Hero or villain?
Villain's so much more fun.
Stage or screen? I know
Uh,
that's hard.
how about both? Multicam. I don't know. I've never done it. I'm gonna say screen.
Rehearsal or improv?
Ooh. Oh, both. Both. You need both. I love rehearsal
Yeah,
and I love improv.
yeah.
Both.
We need more shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, where it's like, okay, there's a
Yes.
structure, but just go play. Like,
Just go, just do it. Yeah, exactly. I love that.
period piece or modern day project.
Period piece for sure. Pirates of the Caribbean, come on.
Lead role in an indie film or supporting role in a blockbuster.
Supporting role in a blockbuster.
While working out, podcasts or music.
Music. You need rhythm.
I'm a weirdo. I listen to podcasts. Maybe it's because I'm a
I mean,
podcaster. I don't know.
whatever helps you. I mean, I guess it depends on the workout. Maybe if you're like on a treadmill, I could see a podcast
Mhm.
maybe happening, but I need a beat. I need a beat. I need a beat.
And would you rather, this is one I just added, would you rather the
Great.
ability to speak any language fluently or speak English in any accent authentically?
Fun. I'm definitely going to pick every language
Mm,
because if you practice enough, I think you could do every accent. I, I don't know if I could learn every language. I think that's probably impossible. But
I'm curious
every
what the record
accent,
is now for that. Like, who
I
speaks the
know.
most languages? Like, who has the record for that?
Yeah. Who is the most polyglot? I would love to know that. Yeah, I'm picking every language.
And lastly, before we go, our last question is always in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
Hmm. Tomorrow could be the day that everything changes. Keep hope.
Love it. Awesome. Allegra, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And again, congrats on Upload. 4 seasons is no small feat. And again, I'm so happy that it gets to wrap up sort of like on its own terms. So congrats on such a
Me
great run.
too. Thank you so much. It was really nice to talk to you on. I love your questions. It was
Thank you.
great.
And for anyone who wants to give you a follow on social, where can they find you?
Oh yeah, I'm at Allegra_Edwards on Instagram. I believe it's the same on TikTok. Not a ton there, but some weird stuff. And I don't think I'm on X anymore. So yeah, just Instagram and TikTok.
Awesome. And folks, you can
Yeah.
see the fourth and final season of Upload premiering August 25th on Prime Video. Thanks for joining us. Actors with Issues is hosted and produced by Juan Ayala. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or on the podcast platform you're listening to. Visit actorswithissues.com for exclusive news and reviews, and give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Actors with Issues.